Welcome to the video. Today we'll uncover how a single missed address update during a move can expose you to immediate credit card fraud, and what to do about it right now. We'll move step by step through emergency actions, legal reporting, and long-term protection. Stay tuned for quizzes to check your understanding, and a quick disclaimer so you know how to apply this information safely. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll explain the risk. Next, we'll walk through immediate mandatory steps. Then we'll cover credit freezes and broader security protections. After that, we'll cover legal reporting to police and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. We'll compare do's and don'ts, provide a prevention checklist for movers, discuss monitoring and recovery, and finish with key contacts and resources. Let's begin. Moving creates a critical window where your mail may still arrive at your old address. If a new credit card or activation letter lands in the wrong hands, a new tenant or anyone with access could exploit it quickly. This is why the risk can escalate overnight. One missed address update can be enough to trigger a cascade of fraudulent charges, account lockouts, and broader identity exposure. Now let's transition to exactly what to do the moment you spot suspicious activity. This diagram shows the typical chain of events. You move to a new home while your old address still receives mail. A new credit card or activation letter arrives at the old address. The new tenant obtains that mail. They may activate the card or use it as EIS, leading to fraudulent charges. You then notice alerts or see these charges on your statement. At that point, you must respond immediately to limit further damage. With that context, let's move to the precise emergency actions you should take. This emergency response map begins with noticing fraud and moves directly to calling the card issuer to cancel the card and dispute charges. It then proceeds to freezing your credit with all three major bureaus. After that, it shows updating passwords and enabling two-factor authentication to strengthen account security. The next steps include filing a police report, documenting the report number, and reporting mail interference to the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Finally, it emphasizes documenting all actions and continuing to monitor credit and accounts going forward. Now let's break those steps into a clear checklist you can follow. Follow this checklist immediately. First, call your card issuer to cancel the card and dispute unauthorized charges. Ask for a replacement card and written confirmation. Next, place credit freezes with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Freezes are free, quick, and essential to prevent new accounts from being opened in your name. Then update passwords for critical accounts and enable two-factor authentication wherever possible. File a police report and retain the report number for the bank's fraud process. Report the mail interference to the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Document all interactions with dates, times, and confirmation numbers. Finally, set up alerts and monitor your accounts and credit reports closely over the next weeks. Now, to support your freezes, let's detail how to complete them effectively. A credit freeze prevents new lenders from accessing your credit file, which blocks criminals from opening new accounts in your name. It is a critical tool following any identity exposure. To implement, you must place a freeze at each of the three bureaus individually: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. When you do, you may receive PINs or passcodes. Store those securely because you will need them to lift or manage the freeze later. If you need to apply for credit, you can temporarily lift the freeze online or by phone for a specific lender and time period. Always verify bureau contact information directly on the official websites because phone numbers and links can change. Next, let's compare the right and wrong responses to this kind of fraud. On the left are the essential actions. Cancel and dispute immediately, freeze your credit with all three bureaus, enable two-factor authentication and update passwords, file a police report, report the mail interference to USPIS, and document everything. On the right are the critical mistakes to avoid. Do not contact the new tenant or former landlord. Do not delay action. Do not broadly lift your freeze unless narrowly necessary. Do not reuse passwords or ignore alerts. Do not share sensitive information over insecure channels. And do not skip ongoing monitoring. Now, to better understand how fraud unfolds, let's visualize the sequence of events and response. This sequence diagram shows the life cycle. A new tenant intercepts a card from the mailbox and makes unauthorized charges. The victim then notices alerts or discovers charges on a statement and immediately calls the issuer to cancel and dispute. The issuer opens an investigation. The victim places freezes at the credit bureaus, then files a police report and reports mail interference to the Postal Inspection Service. Finally, the issuer resolves the dispute and reissues a card while the victim continues monitoring their credit and accounts. Next, let's solidify your understanding with a quick quiz. Question: what is the first action you should take when you notice fraudulent charges tied to a card you never received after moving? Options: 1. Call your card issuer to cancel the card and dispute charges. 2. Contact the new tenant at your old address. 3. Wait to see if the bank reverses the charges automatically. 4. Lift your credit freeze so the bank can investigate. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to call your card issuer to cancel the card and dispute the charges. This stops further misuse and initiates the bank's fraud process. After that, continue with freezes at all 3 bureaus. Update passwords and enable two-factor authentication. And complete police and USPIS reports. Let's build on this with one more quick question. Question: while a dispute is pending, will the disputed balance generally hurt your credit score? Options: 1. No, generally it should not while the dispute is pending. 2. Yes, it always lowers your score until resolved. 3. Only if you also place a credit freeze. 4. Only if you file a police report. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is no. Generally, during a dispute, the disputed balance should not impact your credit score while the investigation is ongoing. Still, continue to monitor your reports and statements, and follow up with your issuer. Now, let's turn to legal reporting and documentation to support your case. You must file a police report and retain the report number, since banks often require it for the fraud investigation. Also report the mail interference to the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, because opening and using someone else's mail is a federal offense. Maintain thorough documentation of every step you take, including dates, times, names, and case numbers. Do not undertake your own investigation. Avoid contacting the new tenant or former landlord because it is risky, ineffective, and unnecessary. Instead, concentrate on cleaning your accounts and reinforcing your digital security. Next, let's create a prevention checklist you can use anytime you move. This mind map organizes security tasks around a move. Under Address Updates, include the USPIS forwarding request and notify banks, credit unions, credit card issuers, the IRS, your employer or payroll provider, utilities, insurance, and subscription services. Under Mail Controls, consider a temporary hold, a locked mailbox, and shredding sensitive documents. Under Digital Security, update passwords, enable two-factor authentication, backup devices, and set account alerts. Under Credit Protection, place a credit freeze, or at least a fraud alert, pull credit reports, and consider monitoring. Finally, under Post-Move Audit, review statements, confirm address changes took effect, and update auto payments to your new card once it arrives. To ground this with contacts, here's a quick reference. Use this table as a quick reference. Contact your card issuer through the official website or app to cancel and dispute charges and to request a replacement card. Report mail interference to the U.S. Postal Inspection Service at their official website. File a police report with your local department and obtain the report number. Place or lift freezes at the credit bureaus via their official sites. Review your credit reports at annualcreditreport.com. Next, let's visualize the common pitfalls so you can avoid them. This pie chart shows common mistakes and their relative prevalence. The largest slice is delaying the call to the issuer, followed by not placing a credit freeze. Skipping police and USPIS reports is also significant, as is reusing weak passwords. Finally, some victims attempt to contact tenants or the landlord, which is discouraged for safety and effectiveness reasons. Now let's cover monitoring and recovery to close the loop. Your recovery plan should include reviewing your credit reports and setting alerts with your financial institutions. Check for new inquiries or unfamiliar accounts. Update automatic payments when your replacement card arrives, ensuring nothing fails silently. Keep your credit freeze active and only lift it temporarily for specific purposes, then refreeze. Maintain a detailed log of your actions and outcomes with dates for reference. Reassess your security posture at 30, 60, and 90 days to catch any late emerging risks. Before we summarize, here's an important disclaimer to keep in mind. This material is for educational purposes only It is not legal, financial, or security advice. Laws, procedures, and contact information may change, and your circumstances may differ. Verify information directly on official websites and consult qualified professionals or relevant authorities for guidance tailored to your situation. Now, let's wrap up the main takeaways. These are the core points. Act immediately by calling your issuer, disputing charges, and requesting a replacement card. Freeze your credit at all 3 bureaus. Update passwords and enable two-factor authentication. File a police report and report the mail interference to USPIS. Document every step and keep monitoring your accounts and credit. Finally, here is a quick Markdown reference you can save. Here is a Markdown-style checklist you can copy into your notes. It includes the emergency actions and the key don'ts. Use it to guide your response in the first hours and days after discovering fraud. Now, let's conclude with a brief summary and your next steps. To summarize, a single missed address update can enable immediate card fraud. Your response is a clear sequence. Contact your issuer to cancel and dispute. Place credit freezes with all 3 bureaus. Update passwords and enable two-factor authentication. File a police report and report the mail interference to USPIS, and continue monitoring. Be proactive before, during, and after a move to minimize your exposure. Now for a final message. Thank you for watching. If this video helped, please like it, share it with anyone who is moving, and subscribe for more practical security content. Share your questions and experiences in the comments. Your insights can help others stay safe.